you guys all back to another webinar in our series. Wafa has been hosting a bunch for DBAM. Just a note that if you're watching on Facebook, you can comment, and I can actually show your comments on the screen. So we want this to be as super engaging and interactive as possible. So please don't be shy. Even if you have words of encouragement, that's really appreciated. So please go ahead. Another note, if you want to do an active service or a little bit of good, put some good karma out into the world, Wafa House is having a fundraiser for DBAM. I will be sharing a little bit more information at the end of the fundraiser. So please, oh, not the fundraiser, sorry, at the end of the webinar. So please stay tuned for that. Okay, with that, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. Sorry, I cannot speak today. Dr. Burcin Ogrenir. She's an amazing woman. She wears many hats. She has her PhD in curriculum and instruction in early childhood education from Penn State University. She's also an active scholar and has shared her work at multiple international conferences on topics such as multiculturalism and emotional intelligence. And on top of all that, she's also a divorce mediator. So she has a lot of experience with relationship coaching. And this is my third time hosting her, and she's just an amazing speaker. So you're all in for a treat. So today she will be speaking about signs of an abusive partner. So whenever you want to start.
Sure. Thank you very much for those amazing compliments, Amman. It's great to work with you too. And I think our topic is especially interesting today. These are just a reminder. These are part of the series for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. These events are organized by Wafa, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. So today I'll be talking about signs of abusive partners, red flags when we get to know about people, or red flags that we can realize during our marriage that we are under some certain kind of threat, what we can do about it. Unfortunately, we are hearing more and more, because maybe due to social media, not that it's happening more than before, more and more violence, especially against women and children. And people have this big question now, especially females, especially young females, but it doesn't matter, anyone wants to know. How will I know that this person who I'm thinking about getting married, who I'm thinking about having a life together, is not going to hurt me, is not going to harm me? How will I know about that? Are there some signs? While none of these are intended to be labels on people, yes, there are some signs that increase the probability of someone that might, harm you in certain way. It can be, don't forget, as a reminder, violence is not only physical. It starts with psychological abuse sometimes. It can be financial. It can be sexual. And there are many other types of violence that can happen. So it's not just physical. Let me, just to have an idea first, let me talk about this. Also, my Instagram people, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you have a problem. If so, I'm just going to close it, and I'm going to go ahead with the video so I can share it later. Now, yes, there are 4 main types of violence that we want to be aware of in the beginning. The first one is maybe I can call stalking, starts with stalking, or maybe psychological abuse. These are all very interconnected. So if you find someone that you are getting to see, you are getting to know for the purpose of marriage, or maybe you are already in marriage, someone just sneaking behind you just to see what you are doing, and also maybe or insulting you in front of people, in front of your friends, even if it looks like a joke, or continuously criticizes you for small things that doesn't really matter, rather than giving you compliments. And if this really feels like it's threatening your self-confidence, yes, that is a start of abuse. Those are signs of an abuse. And you communicate that this doesn't make you happy, this makes you very uncomfortable, and he just keeps doing it. I say he, yes, there are some she's, but since our topic is mostly about violence against women, we are going to talk about signs in abusive male partners. So these are, yes, the way that he intentionally makes you feel threatened, makes you feel uncomfortable, and that you feel like you are losing your self-confidence, there is a sign of abuse over there. I have heard partners, unfortunately husbands, that keep saying over and over that when a female approaches, oh, you know what, I want to go to school for this, or maybe I want to start working again. Oh, you can't do that. You don't know how this work life is. Oh, you can't go to school. You don't have enough brains right now for that. Even if he says it jokingly, even if he says that there's a big reason behind it, if this makes you feel like you're losing your self-confidence and make you feel like very uncomfortable, there is a sign of abuse over there. So that is a part of a sign of psychological abuse. But then there is also financial abuse, which sometimes in some cultures we are not really aware of it because we are trying to understand. Okay, I understand he is the man of the house. Maybe that's why he is not sharing the financial information with me. And I am also legally, I am also bound by these all that or whatever finances is working on. So why don't I know about this? Yes, some partners tend to hide financial information, or some partners give very limited amount of money, even if the other even if you make money or not, they give you very limited amount of money that's not reasonable for you to survive. I mean, maintain your personal needs. For example, okay, here is like $20 for you this week. Or sometimes this is the way they approach. Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Just give me a list. I'll buy you everything. You don't need any money. This can easily turn into a financial abuse. The person might be controlling you in terms of making decisions about your using money, making decisions about your purchases. Sometimes they can even become very particular about things. Oh, you don't need like 24 bottles of water, and this is more expensive than this, and then they can easily you can easily argue about very tiny financial decisions, and you feel like at some point you feel like you have no control over any financial matter in your marriage, even if at the end of the year you are one of the partners, you are married and you are one of the partners that signs the taxes. Sometimes I have seen cases that you don't even know what your husband makes or what the other party makes, but you still have to sign it. You have a right. You have a right to know about your finances, to make informed decisions, to make informed steps, and if you need to save, you may. That's also your right to have your own savings. Especially, I mean, having worked with couples, having worked with women who are going through divorce, I have seen this over and over that women who have some kind of a financial pillow, some kind of a financial saving at some point can have more self-confidence, can make healthier decisions during their divorce. But women who have limited or non-financial saving, financial resource, they act with, anxiety, sometimes makes very harmful decisions for themselves and their marriage. So that is financial abuse. Another one is sexual abuse. So the other party makes sexual advances physical advances that you are not comfortable with, forces you to things that you don't feel comfortable with, um, and physically approaches you in ways that you don't approve, you don't feel comfortable with. And there are many other, there can be other versions of that. Yes, this can easily be portrayed as, as sexual abuse. And if you feel in any of these, if you feel that you are being abused or you are being controlled or you are being manipulated in any of these ways, please share this with someone, hopefully a professional, to double check if that's you that has unrealistic expectations, or if you are really being manipulated and controlled and you don't have your personal decision, right to have a personal decision. So then, how can we understand that someone has a potential to abuse us? First one is, if the person has a track of past abuse, their chances are he might do the similar to you too. What does that mean? So he approaches you and he talks about how in the past his he had to maybe physically beat his ex-wife, or he talks totally bad about his ex-wife, and he also spreads gossips about ex-wife, ex-fiance, something like that. It's not to really show that, oh, I forgot about my ex-wife, see, I'm all yours. This is a more sign of a past abuse, that there's a chances that he's going to repeat that. So if he did it before, he might do it again. The chances are he might do it again. So don't look at this in a way that, oh, he did it in the past now because he didn't have a good relationship. He didn't have me. Now he has me. So it's not going to repeat. We have something different. No, if he did it in the past, he has it in his coding, I'm going to say, in his system. Another one is, and as I'm going through these lists of possible red flags, if the person across you has 3 or more of these, that's where you should beware. I mean, things that happen one time, things that happen, things that they say during an argument once on a blue moon, they may not be necessarily for you to get alarmed. But if it has more than 3 of these on a somewhat continuous basis, that's where you should be really careful. So, another one, if you hear threats of violence or abuse during an argument or anyone else, anywhere else. So during an argument, he says things like, you know what? I'll beat you, I'll kill you in a way that no one is going to find you. This is, of course, extreme, but this is something that's your red line. This is a line that you shouldn't allow anyone to go across. No one can threaten you that way. And if he does, yes, unfortunately, there are signs that might be a sign that might be a possibility. Or he says that things like, and unfortunately, I have heard this. Let's say you are you have some kind of a reputation in your community. You are a well-known in your career. You're a lawyer. You know what? I'll tell everything about you if you don't listen to me. If you don't do what I say, everyone is going to know how bad of a person you are, how you, I don't know, how you sleep, how you do this, maybe very private information that a husband and wife or parties shouldn't share. So these kind of threats are also another sign of violence. Aman, you have a question for me?
Yes, I actually just want to say, while you were talking about like the history if he has like a past history of violence, I want to like cheer and clap because I feel like a lot of us kind of make like excuses or we don't want to like we kind of want to ignore these red flags.
Mhm.
I've seen that in like my own friendships, and it's like you try to give them advice, but they don't want to listen. So kind of tying into that and what you were talking about, what if like everything is going okay with my partner, and there are threats of violence, but it's more subtle? How do
Mhm.
you address that? How do I go about? What do I do?
Mhm. You check in with yourself first. Does it make you feel uncomfortable? You check with yourself. Are you trying to analyze him? Oh, he said it, but he didn't really mean it. Oh, he said it, but it's because I have this anxiety. That's why I feel this way. If it makes you uncomfortable in any way, that's your red line. And please communicate to him, even if it's subtle, even if like it's like you're during the argument and he holds your arm and it hurts, but it doesn't go beyond that. You think that it's subtle. No, that's how it can easily start. That's how it can go down the road. You, if that makes you uncomfortable, if that's your red line, and please define your red lines. It's where you say, you know what, next time during an argument, I don't want you to touch me in any way. That really makes me uncomfortable. Make it a point. And if he intentionally repeats it, that might be the next step. Maybe you may want to be away from him for a while. Or unfortunately, if it goes beyond that, if it goes beyond being subtle, of course, the legal people is going to know more about this, but you may, that might be the time you may start to take recourse of this. And yes, maybe go to a professional, but initially check with yourself if his behaviors make you uncomfortable. Always try to communicate, and if he is not open to communication, if he's saying that, oh, you're exaggerating everything, oh, it was just a, I said it during an argument, oh, you provoked me. Oh, that's my favorite. That's what they said. Oh, Dr. Ogrenir, yes, I kind of pushed her, but she provoked me. She was on my face. I mean, sometimes none of the excuses are valid in some situations. The other person needs to learn self-control, anger management, and of course, in your case too, if you think that you lose yourself and if you think that you provoke, and I'm saying this in a way that to maintain your safety, rather than provoking him, just to again to protect your safety, communicate. And even if you communicated multiple times and he repeats similar behaviors, that's where you should stay away. And that's why you should really take it very seriously. Now, another one, sometimes they do this. This is another subtle sign you think, but it's not. They, during an argument or when they are upset, it doesn't have to be about you, it doesn't have to be with you. When they're upset about something at work, they come home, and they just have a glass of water and just throw it, or just hit very hard on the wall, and you see these walls, it makes them they can easily crack or something. So, or he gets very angry, he throws stuff to the floor, things get broken. This is still violence. This doesn't mean that since the person did not hit you, you are safe. No, this is still violence, because it shows two things. First of all, the person does not know how to manage his anger, how to channel his anger in a healthy way, how to control his anger. That's number one. Number two, he can easily be doing that for you to feel threatened. What does it mean? So when he throws stuff around, you or your children, do you feel like threatened? Don't you feel anxious, maybe a little afraid? In most cases, you do. And yes, this is a red flag, and this is already probably violence. And especially for America, for United States, and in New Jersey, as far as I know, in New Jersey, if you keep throwing stuff, like you took a TV, someone took a TV because he was angry and just threw it, and the TV got broken. Next day, and you have children. Next day, you can have social services investigate you, because violence, you kind of expose children to the violence. It doesn't have to be children was beaten or children had direct interaction. No, if they are they witness stuff that can easily be also explained as child abuse, and you can have social services investigate you. That's why it's important in more than one way. Another one, and this is also very the research shows over and over that, and everything that I'm laying today, most they are supported by research. This is not just my observation, but my observation also was this. But especially people who have alcohol dependency, or they have substance use problems, they are abusing substances, the chances are higher for them that they are also going to come to violence at some point. They will be violent at some point. I mean, the research shows this correlation. So if you have someone who is alcoholic, if you have someone who is dependent on certain substances, you have to be really careful about that. Another one is, this is also, I have to really mention, highlight that I understand, being a Turkish person myself, and we belong to a certain community. We are Muslims and everything, sometimes Middle Eastern, some of us are Middle Eastern. There are also cultural parameters for this, like jealousy. In some cultures, jealousy is a sign of certain amount of jealousy is a sign of a healthy relationship, which is like if someone doesn't, the other person, your party doesn't want you to be around in certain dressing, or doesn't want you to be by yourself among just males or females, while you are the other opposite sex. It shows that they are kind of protecting you. They are committed to this relationship. For some cultures, it's commented this way. However, jealousy after a certain line can easily become pathological, I'm going to say. So like the other person does not really allow you, for example, to even meet with your girlfriends, to even be in an outing where your husband is also going to be there, but he doesn't want you to be there. Or he doesn't want you to at all have a social media account, for example, while he has all around. So this jealousy can be explained in different ways, but even if culturally to a certain amount it's understandable, I mean, if it really threatens your freedom, if you don't feel comfortable, that's where it can easily turn into an abuse. Yes, Amma.
I feel like you read my mind, because anytime I have a question, you kind of start talking about it. But
okay, tell me, let me go beyond that.
You already touched on it a little bit, but I was hoping you could go into more detail about how do you make that line between jealousy and abuse. I feel like sometimes, like you were talking about before, it's really easy to like push it off and be like, no, everything's okay. You don't want to see that it's happening. So how do you address that?
And even sometimes we females tend to say, "Oh, I'm so lucky. He's jealous of me. He doesn't want to share me with anyone. He really adores me." We can easily get like misperceived all the events. Well, she's asking, just for my to repeat your question, if my Instagram people didn't hear that, she's asking if your other party, your husband, is jealous, how do you really define the line where it is healthy and cultural, where it is really unhealthy? First of all, of course, you look at your feelings. How do you feel about that? Second of all, look at how it really affects your daily life, daily function. Number one, you feel like you are isolated from, you start to get isolated from your friends, from your family, because he doesn't allow you to meet with people. Or you feel like even if you're a career woman, you're working, you cannot work effectively because he doesn't allow you to go to that meeting, he doesn't allow you to go to this meeting, he doesn't allow you to work in certain contexts at all. That might be also another problem. So you look at your daily life. If you feel like you're cornered, again, since you can't do things, your self-confidence is threatened. That's where you start to question. You know what? This is not healthy. Something is happening over here. Jealousy is usually, unhealthy jealousy is usually a sign of abandonment anxiety. And if it's unhealthy, it's also a sign of the other person has low self-confidence. And he's all over your phone every time you come. This is also valid. Sometimes females tend to do this more. They go through your phone, they go through your social media contacts just to find out if you are being loyal or not. It can go either way. But if it really threatens you as your identity, your daily functions, your relationship, that is where you draw the line. You have to inform the person, you know what? I will. Let's make a decision. There are these dinners I have to attend. You can either come with me if there's an option, or if you say that I cannot attend any business dinners or something like that, we have to come up with a solution for that. We have to decide it together. So you have to find a mid ground, reasonable mid ground, and if it does not happening, that's where you need to make a healthy choice that's healthy for your identity and that's also healthy for the relationship. It can include you, of course, compromising some stuff, but also it can include people, both parties, for some, they have to do some self-development, they have to maybe grow trust. Now, another one is that happens initially, that is, we call it quick involvement. And especially this is important for initially courting periods, while you get to meet someone, they, for the purpose of getting to know him for marriage, but then he gets quickly involved. He introduces to you his friends like in a week or so. He says he loves you very quick in an uncomfortable way. And he says that he initially, very quickly, he talks about all these dreams he has with you for the future, before really getting to know you, before really getting to know what you need, before really agreeing that you guys can get along or whatever. If we call it quick, and if this quick involvement occurs, some females tend to think that, oh, you know what? Finally, he found the love of his life. That's why he's doing this. Because he never met a person like me. And since he found me, he just doesn't want to lose me. That's why he is acting so quick. No. The chances are, in most cases, maybe 90% of the cases, these quick involvement behaviors are unhealthy. Especially during our modern world, where everyone has their own identity, their own needs, and they have to make a relationship and a marriage based on all these dynamics. So you have to really look more objectively. I'm sure you are, as a female, I'm sure you are a great person. I'm sure you are a catch, but the quick involvement behaviors are not really evidences for that. In most cases, in many cases, not most, but in many cases, these are behaviors of a narcissistic with anger problems, and he's trying to charm you, and you will get charmed. You will surrender. You will be under his control, just to see that it's called a cycle. Just to see that in the next cycle you are left with confusion because he acts totally the opposite. He either ignores you, or he devalues you in front of people, or he does stuff which are not in line with what he has been promising. But this happens all of a sudden. We call this a cycle, actually, since I'm talking about this now. The first one is idealized, and then that's devalue. The second step of the cycle is devaluing, and third, they discard you, which they can like get rid of you for a period, but then they apologize. They do these amazing things to win your heart again, and then you believe in him. You say, oh, things are going to be happening. It was going to be better. It was just a phase. And then that idealization phase starts, and then the cycle goes back until you put that red line. That, I mean, culturally, that's culturally, which I'm going to speak more in the future, in the upcoming weeks, but culturally, sometimes it's hard for us to say no, to draw the red line, because we are trained, we are raised to be the givers. But in this case, in the case of relationships, we have to know our limits. We have to maintain our identity. And that's about quick involvement. Another one is, which I talked about actually, isolation. That's another sign of abuse, and that's another sign of really controlling and manipulation. So all of a sudden, yes, you have a somewhat a good relationship or an engagement, or you are married, and but he keeps telling you stuff about your family. You know what? They don't really care about you. He keeps saying, you know what? They don't really care about you. If they cared about you, they would do this, 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 this. And it's not just your family. He keeps talking about your friends that you have known for a long time. He speaks bad about them, and then you start to question. Oh yes, she never did this for me. I always did this for her. And then you start to feel like you are being isolated from your family, friends, and then it's just him and you, because he wants to get a control of you. He doesn't want to lose you. He wants to be in charge of you. And in addition to this, very parallel to this, he blames others for the problem. So when he has a problem, he blames others. He couldn't do a certain job. He has a problem. He had a problem in his job, or he can't find a job. Oh, it's because they don't understand that this country. It doesn't know the value of a true hard worker. Or because this person doesn't like me. He did a sloppy job and he was judged for that. And he says, oh, because this person doesn't like me. And also, very similarly, he blames others for his feelings. Just a small example. He is upset because something happened in his life, or because he's just all the time upset and complaining. But then let's say you were going to meet for something, or you were going to be home at some point at some certain time, but you were like maybe 15 minutes late. And for the next 1-2 days, that's what he says. Okay, I'm upset. He has all this depressive mood, and he keeps blaming you for that. You know what? That's because you didn't hold on to your promise yesterday. I waited you for hours. I mean, he can easily exaggerate. And not just you, everyone. He blames the children for his feelings. He blames his parents for his feelings. He blames the boss for his feelings, but never himself. He barely apologizes and he barely admits his problems, his own behavior, his own wrongdoings. Now, that's one part of it is usually these people, and if you are familiar, we are talking mostly about narcissistic personalities, and these people who have a high tendency for different types of abuse, these people are usually hypersensitive to comments, to critic, to judgment. They can become easily offended. So that's what, since their self-confidence is very shattered, that's why they want to put the reference on their behaviors, on the consequences of their behaviors to others, because they cannot handle judgment. They cannot handle critic. They cannot handle failure. They can't fail. They are always the best. They are supposed to be best. In truth, they have true self-confidence issues. So hypersensitivity is another sign. They are hypersensitive. Another sign is very, again, black and white sign for me. Black and white. You go to a restaurant with that person, and the person across you acts rude, somewhat rude to the waiters or waitresses. And it doesn't happen just once, it is a pattern. And you are in some kind of an outing, and he shows cruelty to animals, or he's around children, and even if jokingly, he like hits the head of the children. He sometimes like he becomes physical, somewhat violent physical with children. That is a possible sign of again, potential abuse, potential abusive partner, because that's about the empathy skills. That's about how you love the other other creatures. That's about how you approach, how you become really sensitive about others. So cruel to the animals, children are also signs of potential abuse. Now let me see how much time we have. Another one is these people also may tend to have very rigid sex roles, very rigid gender roles, which means, okay, I am the breadwinner, and you are going to clean the house, you are going to take care of the children. I won't touch the laundry, I won't touch the dishes. I don't care about the discipline of the children. And when we are outside, I made the talk, I made the introduction, you don't. So they have somewhat of a very rigid gender roles, even if the community, the social context that you live is not really the place to maintain rigid gender roles. So, and you communicate this, sometimes, don't forget, in the initial, especially 2 years of marriage, most of these signs can be there. They can easily be signs of adjustment, but the difference is you communicate in a healthy way multiple times and they repeat, then that is sign for a future potential violence. But if you are not married, and if you see 3 or more of these, when you are getting to know the other person, in most cases, I mean, and you communicate, in most cases, it's better to stay away. When you become emotionally involved, it can be hard, but these signs, most of them are really, they are no jokes. So let me see. So I'm just going to wrap up, just adding a little, somewhat more of an information. So these people, which we say they display signs of potential abuse, signs of potential violence, they come in different forms, and in most cases we call them narcissistics because their identities, what their behaviors, the behaviors they display are very much in line with that. But not all of them are necessarily narcissists. There are those who are like drama magnets, for example. I call them drama magnets. There are different types. Some of them are drama magnets. So, like for example, everything is going all right. You have having a good day, and the other person somewhat finds a drama about it, somewhat finds a complaint about it. Oh, you know what? This you're eating something, and the food looks delicious. You are in a nice place, nice restaurant, but then he says, you know what? This dish can easily be done better, and I'm really disappointed with this. This is the dish I came here to eat for. I mean, why didn't we go to the other restaurant that I mentioned to you? So everything's going okay. You're having a great conversation, but all of a sudden he turns that into a drama. Or he turns something you said into a drama. He or she, sometimes yes, females can do this too, again, but since we are talking about domestic violence, especially against women, that's why I'm giving the example from the female side of female point of view. Another one is, again, and we call them energy vampires, which is like you want to do stuff, you want to interact with other people, you want to go out, but every time, or you want to do things, every time he finds an excuse to demotivate you for doing things, for taking a step ahead, for getting together with people. Every time you feel like he sucks your energy out. We call them energy vampires. And you feel demotivated, you lose your enthusiasm, and so later you find yourself giving up. Another one is, which we didn't mention so far, another one is of a similar type of personality that has potential abuses, compulsive liars. Compulsive liars. Honestly, any lie in a relationship is not really acceptable, but then you find him lying, even if it's small, over and over and over, and he makes you believe that they are true. You are mispursuing this, which we call gaslighting. You feel like you are a little confused. Maybe he was really being friendly with that girl. Maybe it was a friendly conversation. Even if you saw all this uncomfortable text among them, all this flirty text before them, among them, you think that maybe it's because they are from the same workplace. Or you think that, oh, maybe yes, maybe that's, you lose money, and then he says that, you know what, you don't remember you spent this on this. You don't remember it, but then you think maybe that's why I can't find my money. Maybe I really spend this for this way. He is such a good compulsive liar that you start to question yourself. But if it's a pattern, there are many cracks in the trust, that's another sign you have to, that's another type of personality you have to be beware of. Lying in a potential relationship is 90% of the time not acceptable. Even if it's called white lies initially, that should be really looked at very carefully. And another one, another personality, the final personality I want to mention is those people who can't be happy for the others. They are comparing themselves with others all the time. So, for example, he hears that his friend got a promotion in his workplace. And instead of being happy or even congratulating him, he keeps complaining. He keeps saying stuff like, "Oh, he got it because his father is this. Um, I don't think he deserves it." Or someone gets married, or someone has a child. That's a happy life event for most people, and he always finds a reason to disregard it, to devalue it. So he can't be happy for the others. That is also a sign, that's also a type of personality that is abusive, that can use the term abusive in your life. Now, I want to mention that again, I want to say that even if I say he, this can use, of course, females can also display these behaviors, but I'm highlighting these because we are working towards right now. Our project is about male violence in marriage, especially domestic violence in marriage. And also, just as a reminder, as wrapping up, just to summarize all of this, we have to be aware that in order to understand all these signs, we have to be aware that abuse is not just physical. Sometimes, in most cases, until abuse comes to that level, we experience psychological abuse, financial abuse, sometimes sexual abuse. So you have to be aware of all these signs so you can prevent what might come ahead later on. You have a question for me, or what?
I do. So you've been talking about all the signs of abuse. But I feel like I've kind of heard things like even movies, books, conversations with friends, like, oh, maybe this person will change, or maybe I can help them change. So, do you think it's possible for someone who's showing these abusive tendencies
Mhm.
um, for them to change? Can a violent person learn to control their anger, or should you just walk away?
So, can a person change if they are displaying signs of abusive behaviors? Can they change? Can they be cured? Can they be treated? I get this question all the time. Um, well, that's the answer is different for, of course, the marriage and if you're pre-marriage. Well, you are married and you are seeing these signs. Of course, you might want to put a different type of effort for this. Uh, can they change? You never will have the perfect relationship that the other party treats you with gentleness and kindness 90% of the time. Nothing will be flowers and butterflies. You have to end it. You have to keep your expectation realistic. So, and you have to ask yourself, are you expecting out of this marriage? So you want to be safe. You want to be safe physically, and you want to be safe emotionally and psychologically. Can this be happening? Yes, through some good family therapy. And if the other person needs some help, some support for his behaviors, for anger management, yes, it can be worked on, it can be happening. And in some cases, these people, they are diagnosed with, not all cases, but in some cases, these people are diagnosed with bipolar or borderline disorders. In those cases, which are a little tougher, in those cases, a good combination of psychotherapy and psychiatric medical intervention can be helpful. Uh, it won't be perfect, as no marriage is, but there can be a significant progress if the person is committed to getting better. But it's not just him. You have to be careful about your red lines. So, because he's going to try you multiple times, and being abused psychologically or physically takes a huge toll from the person. You change. Sometimes you don't recognize yourself. So you have to take care of yourself too, so you can stand in your ground. Put that stop. Say no when it's required. And also be ready to go. Be ready to walk away. Be strong enough, so be ready to walk away when it's time to do so. If you display a personality who is giver, who does every little thing, who would do everything to not go out of this marriage, who cannot go out of this marriage because of this reasons, the partner, the abusive partner, if the narcissistic partner will not have enough motivation or enough push to really work making things better. So it's a teamwork in this case. You can work for this. And I always tell my divorcing couples that they are asking me, so should we divorce or not? I never answer that question. That's not my place to answer, but everything possible to save this marriage. Am I still online?
Because yeah,
okay.
I don't know
And in terms of the relationships, let me finish this. In terms of the relationships, if you are still getting to know the person and you are not married, please take this as seriously as possible. You are not looking for a project. You are not looking for someone to fix. And you don't want to get into a trouble. You want to live your life in a healthy way. So that's where you may want to gain your self-confidence, strength, and put your, again, barriers, put your red lines. And if he keeps crossing them, maybe you may give up on making a lifelong commitment to this person, which is, of course, easier at this stage. So that's what I'm going to say about this question. Aman, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you so much. I feel like I learned so much whenever you present. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should have some like secret handshake, a virtual secret handshake we should come up with or something.
Good that you reminded. I mean, next project we are working towards is we are going to be organizing secret support groups for women. Yes, we are yes for again with the Wafa. We are working on this in terms of organizing. But yes, we need these. We need more and more females to be aware of and to be educated about this, right?
For sure, for sure. Because even like when you were talking, I was just thinking about times where I've seen like in my friends and their relationships, like small signs of it's not straight up abuse. It's very subtle and just kind of like, how do I approach that? Especially if I'm not that close with them, how do I be like, hey, I don't think this is okay. Is that my place? You know, so I think that's a great idea. Okay, thank you again. So like I mentioned in the beginning of this workshop, Wafa House needs your help. We've been hosting amazing programs, or we have so much more to share with you. We offer a range of services to families, and we're also one of the only organizations that have these culture competent information. So we love to cater to the Arab and South Asian community. And you know, intersectionality is a really important thing to talk about and to consider when you're talking about violence against women. So in order for us to keep doing that, we need your support. Any donation, any cent, every cent counts. So even if you have $1, that'll be amazing. You know, we're $1 closer to helping you. So I'm gonna drop the link right now in the Facebook comments. Oops, that is the wrong link. Hold on. It's really easy. It's just www.wafahouse.com/donate. 1 second. You can find it all over our social media. We're blasting it everywhere. You can find it on our website, but I'll share it here just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, it's sending, so it should show up on Facebook. So thank you again, Dr. Ogrenir. We'll be back again on Friday, I believe.
Friday.
same
Yes.
place. And we also have another webinar tonight at 6 p.m. with Giselle McCall. So please, please, please come to that. I'm sure you'll learn so much more. Okay, thanks again. I hope everyone has a wonderful
Thank
Tuesday.
you.
We'll see you soon.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.